Hey, it's Carolina, your podcast host and Reiki master. So today we were talking about how Reiki helped me conceive. This is my own fertility story, and I don't think I talk about it enough. It is what led me to do what I do now, and fertility is different for everyone. We spend most of our time thinking that, or assuming that when it is time for us to have a family, that it'll just happen, that we'll have sex and we'll just get pregnant. However, that's not the case for many, and it wasn't the case with me. I was a newlywed. I was in my 30s. I had met the love of my life, and our first year of marriage, we had agreed that we wanted to spend time getting to know each other on a deeper level as a married couple and enjoying this new phase of life, and traveling and settling in as a married couple. So then after that first year was up, I got my IUD out and we were trying, but month after month, we were not getting a positive pregnancy test. We were getting negative pregnancy tests. I got tested, got my hormones tested. I spoke to the gynecologist and she's like, there's nothing wrong with you. You have a normal period. After the IUD had been taken out, my period had returned and it was normal. And I had a normal period before the IUD. So there was no suspicion or anything to think that it wouldn't come back. So I was working a lot. I was in a job that a lot of my identity was wrapped up in. I was also at the very beginning of a spiritual awakening. So this is how Reiki helped me conceive. After a horse accident, I was put on medical leave from that very stressful job. And my concussion was not healing properly. During that time, my husband took me to a metaphysical shop. Shout out to psychic Kelly Miller here in Omaha. And she had been in the lobby of her store. She also was doing psychic sessions during that time. And she said, it's not a crystal or a stone that you need to help you heal your concussion. It is actually your chakras need to be cleared. Your throat and your sacral plexus chakras are blocked and you need Reiki. She recommended a Reiki practitioner. I was in grief therapy that same week. The grief therapist said, you should be progressing along in your grief journey and your depression more than you are. You should consider either doing Reiki or getting on antidepressants, because I was still depressed. My dad had passed. Before that, it had been, at this point, 2 years since he had passed. I needed this weight to be lifted, but I didn't know the connection of the grief, the physical elements that I was feeling from the grief, because my grief was very physical, that it was connected to my fertility. So I went to the Reiki master that she had suggested. And it wasn't just a Reiki session, it was a Reiki massage. So this massage therapist was actually a trauma massage specialist. Like, she specialized in trauma massage, but she also did Reiki. So I went and I got the Reiki session done fairly quickly after having been told that. I was doing anything I could to heal. I was super desperate to get back to work. I was super desperate to get back on my horse again, because I knew as soon as I was pregnant again that I wouldn't be able to ride my horse, because I promised my husband as soon as I'm pregnant, I would stop riding. The horses were a big part of my life at that point. So I got Reiki. I walked out of that session and I had felt better than I had in 2 years since my dad had passed. I could breathe again. I felt like the giant weight that was on my chest, because I couldn't breathe a full breath in those 2 years. It was very difficult for me to take deep breaths. My chest was so tight and I felt so heavy all the time from grieving and missing him and learning to live life without my person, but also struggling with, you should be happy. I'm a newlywed. I should be hot to trot and want to have sex all the time, and all of those stereotypes for that phase of life. I had everything except my dad and a baby. I was happy to be married, and I was happy to have my dream job and happy to have all these things for me, but I was still so very, very sad. And the sadness never left until I had my Reiki session with this lady. And she was life-changing and super kind. And what it felt like was waves of energy, warmth moving through my body. You know, at a massage, you lay face down and face up. When I faced down and I closed my eyes, I could see different colors flash through my eyelids. And that might sound psychedelic, but I learned later those are actually the colors of the chakras that she was working on and that the energy of the Reiki healing was moving towards. So essentially what really happened with Reiki in that session is Reiki healed and went to the spots where I was hurting the most. And that was my sacral plexus chakra, which is in your pelvis. That's where your uterus is, your fallopian tubes, your ovaries. It's your entire pelvis, and also my chest and in my throat chakra. I couldn't voice a lot. I had lost my voice when my dad died. I felt very unsafe in the world, and I questioned a lot of things like, is this real? What's not real? What are my beliefs now? Because it was such a rattling experience. Death is very peculiar and very bizarre. How does a person that is a big part of your life and that helps bring you to life and helps shape who you are and you did so much of your life with, how do they go from here to nothing? And that was something I really just had a really hard, difficult time wrapping my head around. That Reiki session was amazing and I felt goosebumps. I almost felt like I was floating afterwards. I felt very blissful. And I felt happy for the first time, besides my wedding day and my honeymoon, for the first time in 2 years at that point. 1 month later, we were testing positive with a pregnancy. And essentially, I went on to get certified, of course, and get certified multiple times in different lineages of Reiki. But what I learned was the technical piece is that my chakras were blocked. And the chakras are energy centers in our body. There's 6 that sit on the spine, and the 7th is in our crown on the top of our head. And basically what that looks like is all of those energy centers need to be open and flowing. If they are blocked, that will cause some type of imbalance in that area of the body. For example, the sacral plexus chakra, it was blocked. The reason why it was blocked is because I felt emotionally unsafe in the world. I was disconnected from who I was, and I didn't know how to connect with myself anymore after my dad's death. That every chakra has something that it's in charge of, something that it controls in that region of the body. Our sacral plexus chakra is in charge of emotional security, pleasure, worthiness. It also influences our connection to our parents. So if we have childhood trauma and things like that, or fear, a lot of those emotions are in that center. So a lot of common emotions that are blocked in that particular chakra are blame, shame, guilt, abandonment, neglect. A big one is fear. And after you lose someone and after you're going through fertility and you get negative pregnancy tests month after month after month, you're going to have fear. You're going to have a feeling of abandonment of some sort. And for me, that one Reiki session was enough to open that chakra. And then I went and did the deed and we got pregnant. To honor my dad the very next month, it was actually the 2nd year anniversary of his passing. And on that day, to honor him, we went and told my husband's parents that we were pregnant. So it was all very, I guess, blessed. It was very blessed. All of those things all happened for a reason. And it was part of our story. I needed to slow down, and it took God for me to be God smacked, as some people say. I had this horse accident where I fell off and I had suffered the concussion. And then in turn, I went to the psychic's metaphysical shop. She told me to get Reiki. And then therapist told me to get Reiki, so I went and got Reiki. And then I was pregnant. And I didn't get back on a horse, just in case you wanted that tea. I didn't get back on a horse until much, much, much later. And then it wasn't even the same. So Reiki helped me conceive by opening that region of my body's energy and for my energy to flow from one connection to another. But essentially, from an emotional standpoint, it relieved me from feeling heavy. And I left that session feeling lighter. And that's essentially what happened. And I needed to go from depressed to feeling lighter in order for me to conceive my son. And it was my emotional state from the grief that was blocking my fertility at that point. So Reiki helps women and men, but I serve women with their fertility in different ways. And what could be blocking one woman is going to be different from another. I have worked with over 500 women over the past 5 years, and the number keeps growing. And now we're up to 68 Reiki babies. It never ceases to amaze me how Reiki can impact somebody's life. And for me, it literally saved me. I continued to get Reiki through my pregnancy and postpartum, and it helped me heal through really large traumas that I wasn't necessarily ready to talk about. And because of those traumas, I am able to hold space for other women going through like circumstances. So if you're interested in getting Reiki, whether it's from me or from another person, make sure you feel connected to them and they're there to answer all of your questions. Otherwise, continue to search for someone that's going to make you feel safe while they help you heal. Reiki is the life force energy that makes everything feel alive and makes the grass green. It makes your lungs grow and expand. Reiki, as long as it's ethically done, is a very great healing modality. So if you are interested in Reiki or have questions about it, feel free to DM me on Instagram and mention this podcast. And I can't wait to connect with you on the next episode. Take care, my friends. It was an honor to connect and serve you this week. If you're a spiritually curious person wanting to conceive and heal blockages in your fertility, click the link in the episode description to learn more about the Fertility Foundation Collective. This October and November, all new members will be learning how to heal themselves with Reiki to boost their fertility. Make sure to grab your seat. Until next time, my friend, know you're loved.